The film review section. This week in the film review section, we have decided to cover Zack Snyder's Zack Snyder Cut of the Justice League film that Joss Wheadon did. Would you like to do a synopsis, Sean? Or shall I rattle something off?
You know what? Go for it, because I don't think I can.
Just so you know, people, what we do here is we'll give you a synopsis, then we'll give you a general thoughts, not spoiling anything. It's an old film, so we're hardly going to spoil it. But then we'll go into spoilers. We'll clearly mark it in the show notes, and we'll let you know when we're going into it so you don't get spoiled. So this is Zack Snyder's cut. He finally made it. He wanted to make this film. He tried to make this film, and then tragic circumstances brought him off the project. Joss Whedon came in and fucked it even more than it was already fucked. And then they put it out in cinemas. We all said, no thanks, and then it went away. But there were a hardcore fan base who, went after it and said, right, let's bring this back and push for the Snyder Cut. And we have this. So this is... what we got? We've got Batman, haven't we? We've got Batman. He is putting together a team. He's looking around the world for all the superheroes, because what's just happened with Superman is that he's gone and died after the last film that they were in together. Batman's worried because there are threats coming and that sort of thing, so he's putting together a team. And who do you think he's going to find? Well, he's going to go and get Waterboy. He's going to get Wonder Woman, and there's some kid whose dad's mutated him into some sort of cyborg thing, and there's a really quick little lad from some city up the road. So they're going to pull all them together and try and battle Stephen Wolf with mother boxes. Is that a synopsis?
That is it. You know what it is? That reminded me of a lot of this film. You know what it is? Like, films can be as long as they want, if they're suited to be long films. This isn't for me. A lot of people have been very positive about this, and I just don't get it. Such is the beauty of films. DC's my favourite heroes. I mean, I'm into Marvel. Marvel's great. DC's great.
Aye.
I like superheroes. End of. Batman's my favourite. I talked the story a couple of weeks ago about Batman. I love the Superman films. I love the Flash TV series. Really into it. I've liked Wonder Woman. I haven't seen the 84 yet. I like the original. Aquaman, I liked. It just felt a bit too long for me. But yeah, with this, it's just... I want to like them so much. And I wanted to love Batman versus Superman. And I just found it a bit... yeah. And the Justice League, I was like, it was alright. It was cool. But this one, I'm just kind of like... I don't want to slag anybody off, like I've said before. It's very hard to make films. Everyone does a great job. I just thought this one was a little self-indulgent.
You're being very kind by saying it was a little self-indulgent there, Sean. This was the most self-indulgent thing I've ever seen. I don't mind it though. Like, this was for me better than the Joss Whedon one.
The Justice League.
The Justice League, that's right, yeah. But I never want to watch it again.
I don't think I've got the time to watch it again.
I didn't have the time to watch it this time.
No.
At the end of it, I just wrote in my notes, what is this? Because, it's not a film, it's not a TV series. It feels to me like what Zack Snyder did was, the studio said, Zack, can you make a Justice League film without all of the individual characters having their own story set up and just start them off? And Zack Snyder went, yeah. And the studio were like, why are you winking when you said that? Oh, I didn't wink. It's like, yeah, I can do it. Can you do it in a normal sort of feature-length film length? Yeah. You winked again. Look, I mean, if this was what he had planned, he'd never intended to make this as a film.
Because wasn't it supposed to be released as a miniseries? When it went to go on in America, obviously HBO.
This version of it was meant to be, aye.
This version, was going to be 4 episodes. I think.
There's a lot. I'm gonna pull out some good stuff because I feel like we're gonna shit on this a lot. I think, but some of the good stuff for me is the intro. Well, the first 7 minutes, I was like, I'm feeling the death of Superman here, and I never felt that because I thought they just rushed everything in BVS. I mean, it reminded me how much I love, this is a controversial one, how I love Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
Well, Man of Steel is one of my favourite superhero films.
Me too, I absolutely love Man of Steel, and I listened to that soundtrack that entire summer, I think it was 2013.
Amazing.
Hans Zimmer, it's just all percussion, it's all drums, and I absolutely loved that. That was on in my car. this made me like that less because they used it too much. They used that score too much. The same that they used everything too much in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sorry, I was trying to do some positives. The intro, first 7 minutes, I was like, this is long, but it's better. I feel like I'm getting the story that I need to understand this film. Yeah, so that was a good thing. I like the way they developed the characters a bit more. I just wish they hadn't laboured everything as much as they did.
Yeah. Because I've heard people saying how, well, they could have still maybe knocked half an hour off it. I think they could have got rid of an hour and a half. And I know that's what the original was, wasn't it? Around about 2 hours. But I've got quite a few positives, to be honest with you. Some of them might be a bit spoilery, so I'll wait. But yeah, I mean, the introduction was a bit too long for me. I was like, get on with it, come on. And I did like how they did develop the characters. Some of the things we didn't need, but again, we'll get into that.
The thing for me is if you've seen the Justice League, right, and you didn't like that, it very much depends on what it is that you didn't like about that. Because a lot of the stuff that I didn't like about that is still here.
Yeah.
The way they do the action, I absolutely hate. Because physics don't seem to apply. Everything is a cartoon plasticine man like Neo Skittles in The Matrix 2. That's what all the action feels like to me in this. I don't know whether you liked it or...
Some of it I did, but yeah, especially, I don't know what it is, but the Wonder Woman action, it does seem like a little bit individual to her, so I do like it.
Right.
But yeah, it's weird because I love Man of Steel, but every other film he's done in the DC universe, I don't like the colour sort of palette of it. Like there's just something about it that doesn't sit with me. And I like Zack Snyder. I like his other films that he's done.
The thing for me with this is Joss Whedon was brought on when there was a lot of this already done. I mean, when you've seen the Snyder Cut, they didn't really film that much more to finish off this film, and they've got 4 hours.
Yeah.
If I was Joss Whedon and I came into that and they're like, can you make a film out of this? I'd be like, fucking, I'll put something together, but
yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to make it all make sense. And clearly he couldn't, but that's because when he came in, he had this to deal with. And they're like, well, Zack's done this. And they're like, oh, fucking cheers, he's filmed 4 hours of a film that I'm supposed to cut down into 2.5 and make it make sense and make it be interesting. But like you say, like when you mentioned before, sorry, I'll go back to that. There is a 2.5 hour cut with an hour and a half of this cut out that I think would please me.
Yeah, I think something could be pulled out of this in a way that would, like, given that 4 hours, they never would, but if they give me all the original bits, all the original files, there you go. I'd like to think, there's something in there. I mean, maybe someone a bit more talented than myself.
Release the Sean cut.
But there is something I think someone could, even if Zack Snyder again, there's something in there I think I'd find enjoyable. But we were talking the other week about how sometimes DC is finding that line between the humour and the drama. And they can't seem to get that right. They're either really dark and amazing and serious like the Joker, or it's just balls to the wall mental like Batman and Robin. It's like trying to find that balance, and I think this film shows that. And again, because I've only seen the original Justice League once, so I watched it again before I watched this one just to refresh myself.
And how was that? Because I wasn't going to do that. I didn't like it. I watched it twice in the cinema because I had a friend who wanted to go and see it.
To be honest, I maybe shouldn't have done it because I watched them both in the same week, not the same day. Obviously, I've got a life. I watched them both in the same week, and I think, if anything, I should have maybe watched Justice League last week and then the new one this week.
Right.
But because I'm kind of confused about what's in what and which one's in which film.
Right.
So,
would this have worked better as a TV series? Because again, when I wrote "What is this?" I'm like, well, what is it? Because it isn't a film. Yeah. It's too long to be a film. It's not even structured like a film. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what he was trying to go for.
People seem to be like, this whole thing about studio interference and all that kind of stuff, and it happens on every single film.
Well, studios should interfere because it's their film. It's not interference, it's them managing the situation that they've got.
Because obviously when they hire directors and a deal's made and arrangements made, what film are you going to make us? Well, this is what I've got an idea. Yes, make us that, please. Sometimes, they can be like, change their mind, actually want this now. But that's not what you hired me to do.
Yeah.
And then stuff like that. But with this, I think they got it right. No, we need this to be a lot shorter because we don't know what this is.
I mean, there are good director's cuts. Sometimes a director's cut works. Yeah. And for the fans who wanted this, and people seem to be enjoying it, I'm really happy for you. Really good. But That's enough of this. Thank you.
We've got this now. Boom.
Because I don't want them to be making more of this when they could be making other films with other directors in this universe or in a DC universe of some kind.
But is there anything else you want to talk non-spoiler before we jump?
There isn't anything for me, I don't think. No. Just probably wrap up non-spoilers and just say, this is a really long thing. And if you really are interested in it just as a sort of thing to do, then watch it. But if you don't have any interest in this, it's not going to turn you, I don't think. Nah. It's not going to do anything for you.
If you're not a fan of the DC universe, you're not going to be by watching this.
Yeah, right. So, spoilers?
Let's spoil it.
Okay, so my spot... Is a trident really a trident when it has 5 prongs?
It's a fork. Or is it a fork even? What is it?
It's not a trident anyway.
It's not a trident.
Or is it a trident in brackets?
Yeah. But because I thought that. Like, I've never noticed it before. I don't know if it was the same one in Aquaman. I can't remember. I don't know if you had one in Aquaman. I don't know.
He did, yes. Yeah. I couldn't get through Aquaman. Again, Aquaman was one of those things where different director, I thought this could be interesting. And it was just a fucking lot of film.
Yeah.
Like, I was 40 minutes in, I'm like, there's a lot of this, and I don't like any of it, so I'm just going to switch it off.
I was decorating the house, and someone who was at the house at the time put it on because they wanted to watch it, and I was putting wallpaper up, and I thought, well, yeah, I don't want to watch it yet, but, that's fine. And then it felt like I was decorating the room for about a week, and it was still on. Did you rewind this? No, this is still going. I'm like, and I watched the edit. I thought, I might want to watch that again. I don't think I did, but I do love the look of Aquaman. He's always been the kind of butt of the jokes, but he's a badass.
He is a badass. I mean, like, I quite like the new 52 Aquaman. I haven't got any here, but like, I do like the new 52 Aquaman. I think he's a weird concept and difficult to get right. But in this, he's not really Aquaman. He's nothing to do with Aquaman. They're all just indestructible, flying, whizzy things.
Yeah.
They did do something better in this one with individual power sets and things like that, Right. Batman has a load of cash and he builds a lot of things. So he uses all of that stuff. The Flash has to push through time and things like that, which I don't think he did in Justice League, did he?
Did, no. Well, that's what I'm saying, because I liked certain parts of the development, because I liked that. Mm-hmm. Like, they all had to do a bit more, and we dived into them all a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But, well, not a little bit, it was too much. That was the issue. It was, especially Cyborg. I love what they did. Because I wanted to know more, because I didn't know anything about Cyborg in the original.
No.
I was like, I want to know more about this kid. But I was like,
not that much.
Yeah. You're going to tell us what he had for his fucking lunch next.
I want to know more about him, but I don't want to know it 3 times in the same film.
Yeah.
You can get it from context. There's a way of doing this where you give everyone 1 or 2 scenes to establish the core of their character, and then you move on and you do it. And it's done well, and really good films, really well edited films, really well directed films do that. And this just laboured everything and repeated everything. That final shot where they've won and they stood on top of that cliff together.
Yeah.
It pans round and there's about 7 or 8 of them that same shot.
It was just a bit relentless.
I was dizzy with the panning cameras as well. Like, everything happens in a circle. It's like, stop moving in a fucking circle. Put a camera on someone who's talking and let me watch them.
There's another bit that I did like. Mm-hmm. I did like some of, how Superman's just a badass. I liked his black suit. I liked how when he arrives with, as you call him, Stephen Wolf. And I like how when he goes to stick the axe in Cyborg, when Cyborg's doing the whole bit at the end with the box thing. Uh-huh. And Flash is running late, even though he's the Flash. And Superman just pops up, and I can't remember what he says. But you'd expect, in a lot of films, he might be like, block the axe with his arm or whatever. He just stands there and bounces off his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And he says something like, nah, not today. And he just says something. Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, you're a badass Superman. That's what you should be like.
Mm-hmm. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. But he's so fucking boring in this.
I wouldn't say boring, but I think he's a bit too... It's Bruce Wayne. He's very sort of like boring, I would say. I know it's technically the same person.
Yeah.
But when he's Batman, he's badass.
He is, Ben Affleck does everything he can with the material he's given, I think.
Yeah. I do wish we got his own Batman film.
I know, yeah. The thing with me as well, I don't know where Batman fits. I mean, they did a better job of weaving him into this team here because he sort of sets up the team and he makes all the machines and stuff like that, and that's quite cool. But I don't know where they could all just fly and power through buildings and get hit by anything, and it doesn't matter. So I don't really know where Batman sits here. And I didn't really see a lot of them getting pushed back. You did see a lot of them getting beaten by Steppenwolf, which I thought made him a bit more threatening. Because in the Justice League, I didn't care about him.
I don't want to badmouth anybody. It's better than I can do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Visually, I hated it in the original, in the Justice League. He looked like a cartoon. He didn't look good.
I think everything looked like a cartoon, and some things still do.
His face a little bit. I like how they put like that breathing suit of metal armor on him. That was quite cool.
That was cool, but I didn't know it was that. So I was like, is that a tail, or is it clothes, or is it a back penis?
Yeah.
Or
he had a front
and
one.
Is that horns, or is that a helmet? Because I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I sort of thought it was armor, but there was that flappy thing at the back, and I'm like, "Is that a penis?"
But even like the bits on the shoulder just kept like flopping at times, and like.
I suppose it's just a more advanced technology, I think, is what it is. But it led me to ask, what is nudity in this universe? Because Cyborg comes out and he delivers his like Hulk line. It's like, you know what my secret is? I'm always dressed, and he takes his coat off. And I'm like, well, you're not the way. Are you nude? I don't know. I don't know what nudity is anymore.
Is this the new nude?
Can I replace half my body with a machine, and then I'm no longer ever nude?
Yeah. And if so, why are you wearing a hoodie?
What if? I don't know how much of his was left to him, but what if it was just like his head and his penis? Would he still be allowed to go out like that?
Yeah.
Would he be allowed to deliver that line saying, I'm always dressed like, put your penis away, mate.
Yeah.
Your face, we can handle. The mechanical body, okay. But you've still got a functional penis and we can't be having that.
But it was annoying because I was liking what they were going for. Like, I wanted to know more about the characters, and I was finding out more about the characters.
Yeah.
I was just finding out too much. And maybe that is because, they wanted to shape up a bit from Marvel. We'll give you the group film, and then we'll show you the individual films. Cool.
But yeah, like you say, I've always pointed to Guardians of the Galaxy when we ask, can you just come out of the gate and do a team film? Yes, you can. You do think, I mean, that's perfect. Rocket Raccoon. You have a little conversation between him and Drax, and Drax's motivations, why he wants to kill that Ronin guy, all about Rocket Raccoon's experimentation. He's sort of like the Wolverine in that situation as well. He's been abused, he's been passed around, he doesn't know what he is anymore, his lack of identity.
Yeah.
One scene, you get that in with Guardians of the Galaxy. And that sets up two characters perfectly. You get a heist scene and a bit of banter with Star-Lord and Gamora chase scene. Bam, you know who they are. That's all you need to do.
There's a tree that just introduces itself every time it talks, and we know so much about it.
Exactly, So it can be done. You don't need to do the individual stories.
But I would like to see just Ben Affleck on his own film. And apparently for a while he was going to co-write and direct.
He was,
That was all.
Chris Terrio, he's worked with Chris Terrio loads. They wrote Argo and made Argo together. That's where they sort of came together. And then he brought him on to... Did you bring him on to Batman v Superman, I think?
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, I'd like to see, just give him that. Just give Ben Affleck and Chris Terrio, 80 million? Just give them that. Let them go off and do Batman. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't mind that. I'm just trying to think of the Themyscira thing. I noticed something online that people were saying that's much more fleshed out and much better. Do you think that? Because I don't.
I mean, it was definitely different.
It was longer.
Yeah, it was longer.
Like anything when people said, "Oh, this is better because of this," I'm like, "Well, it's longer. Is it better?
Yeah.
Is length all you want? Because I can't help you there."
It's the same way like people think if something's darker, it'll be better. No, not necessarily.
No.
Comedies are great, So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the whole like temple-y thing fell into the sea in the Justice League.
No. Yeah. And I can see them making that sacrifice because they trapped a load of Amazons and that they all died and it went into the sea and it still failed.
So, I mean, I like that aspect of it. Again, that's the thing for me for this one. Not a lot of it was necessarily better or worse. I was just getting the same but a lot longer. That's my issue with it. Because like I said, I'm repeating myself here, but I loved how we got to know more about the characters. But it was far too much. And again, everything was a bit long. Like that scene, yeah, it was good,
Mm-hmm.
and there was aspects of it that were good, but it was just a bit longer. And I am struggling to sort of, because I was thinking, wait a minute, what's happened here? Because Stephen Wolf went into the scene as
Uh-huh.
well. So I was thinking, oh well, maybe we're getting a bit, because obviously he does pop back up and he chucks a horse around and stuff like that. I think that looks pretty cool. He's freaking badass. He picks up a horse like it's a freaking pebble.
The thing for me with
Um,
that action, that all of that action is that it just looks like a computer game. It looks like a video game, so I'm not
yeah.
invested in it. But there were some times where I thought, especially the end, was like, I sort of care about these characters now because we've been through a lot together. Me and them. We've just sat through 4 hours of a Justice League. It's finished, and somehow there's still 28 minutes left to go. That's what I was thinking as well. But we've been through a lot more together, so I am more on board with the characters, and therefore the action does mean a bit more.
What I want to get your ideas, because I know me and you went to Suicide Squad, and I was the only one who was quite positive about that when we came out of it.
I've never seen it since. I didn't like it. I loved that trailer though, the Comic-Con trailer.
Yeah.
I started a joke that started the whole world laughing. That was great.
It was brilliant. What I was going to ask you was, what did you think of the Joker scene in this?
Well, yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into the whole fucking right. Oh, this fucking thing. I've got no notes on it, but I absolutely fucking hated it. We'd finished the film for a start, right? I'd sat through this whole fucking thing, this whole fucking indulgent thing that Zack Snyder had done, and fair play to him. Well done. You made the film that you wanted to make. Now leave. No, I'm going to hang around for another 28 minutes. It's not like a post-credit scene. It's a post-credit fucking mini-film.
Film.
This thing. And another reason why I never want to see anything more from this fucker is that he is starting to ruin one of my favourite comic book runs, and I got these out to prove it to you. I fucking love Injustice. And if that's what he wants to go on and do, then no thank you. Because I want this. I've wanted Injustice to be made into a film for a very long time. But I do not want that Injustice.
See, I've never read them. I kind of want to now. But what annoyed me about this scene, because again, I'm one of the rare people that I liked Jared Leto's Joker because it was different. And I loved his portrayal in this. I liked how it was a little bit different. It was a bit more reserved. And he does seem completely unhinged. I like what he's going for. But that's what's annoying me, because it's not in films that... Like I said, I've got a soft spot for Suicide Squad, but I'm under no illusions that, it's not an amazing film. But I wish there was more Joker. And I loved the dialogue in this
I liked a bit of the dialogue, but they do it 3 times, like in every fucking talky scene in this film. They say everything 3 times, and I know that might be a bit rich coming from us.
Yeah. But like I was saying, like, I like the dialogue, I like the tension between, I like the chemistry between Affleck and Leto was great. I like that little scene. But what the fuck was the point in it?
I think, well, to be honest, I think it was just Zack Snyder's like, right, they're never going to let me do any more of this. So I've got to get everything out that I want to get out. And I really wanted to do Injustice after this. And I don't want that for him. As much as he might be a nice bloke and all that sort of stuff, I don't want him to do that, because I want someone else to do Injustice in a different way. They might fuck it up as well. But what I can guarantee from looking at this is Zack Snyder is not going to make anything that I want to watch.
So he's give you a little snippet, so you give a bit of a warning.
I did hear someone complaining about, or people complaining about Deathstroke in this. I didn't think that seemed to be difficult to follow. There was a post-credits scene where Lex Luthor gave him some information about how to find Batman. And then in the epilogue, it's in the future. And it's Injustice. And Deathstroke is on Batman's team. If you read this, it's about Batman going to different dimensions to get all the superhero counterparts so they can fight each other.
And I like that kind of stuff. I like they were touching on a wider universe. That's great. I like the sort of like the back, because there was great, because one of the, I can't remember, is it one of the old Atlantean king? How they go back, there's like the Atlantean king, there's the old Human King, and there's all the other when they do like the flashback bit about the original,
Oh yes,
the ones who
yeah.
originally got rid of Stephen Wolf like all those many years ago.
That battle scene was okay. It was cool to see a bunch of superheroes, but when I was watching it, and again, I shouldn't do this, but I kept thinking back to portals from Avengers Endgame, and I'm like, nothing's ever going to be as cool as that because I actually cared about every single person coming out of each one of those portals, and it looked cool because I was invested, and I couldn't get invested in this. If you're going to show a cool battle scene, show a cool battle scene with all of the characters that you've set up. Don't just cut to a historic battle scene with no one that you know. What's that? It's nothing. That's what it is.
Like I've always learned doing the stuff that I've studied and things, how sort of less is more. And you don't need all this sort of backstory and that. There's jokes about some actors, some old fashioned actors like, I can do all this with a look. I don't need all this dialogue.
Yeah.
I was going to say you can do it all in the writing and the directing. You can show and tell so much by doing so little.
It seemed to be written in a way that I didn't have any faith in what the actors were going to do.
Well, you look at the cast list; they're all freaking great at what they do.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, Ezra Miller needs to catch a break. Spoilers for Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Gay Wizard Hitler, but he's a Dumbledore, and everyone hates it. And spoilers for this, he's a Flash, and everyone wants Grant Gustin from the TV show to be doing it. Even though Ezra Miller in this is really good, Grant Gustin wouldn't do a better job at this.
No, they're totally different Flashes. Even though they're both Barry Allen, but they're both, they're very different.
I'm not saying he would do a bad job. I'm just saying he wouldn't do a better job than Ezra Miller's done.
No. And it just shows, like, you mentioned two of Ezra Miller's films there. The characters are so different, and he's so good at both of them. He's so good at that in-your-face kind of funny acting, like as Barry Allen, and he's so great as what is his character's name, Credence.
We need to talk about Kevin.
I've never seen that film.
It's really good. It's all acting though.
For a quick second, I was like, "Who the fuck's Kevin?"
It's really acting. But Ezra Miller. He's great at everything I've ever seen him in. I still don't like Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with, her physicality and everything like that. But I love that the studio have stood by their choice in casting her. Despite pushback. Oh, she's not big enough. She's not strong enough to be an Amazonian and all that sort of stuff. Look, they've cast her and they stood beside her. I don't think she's the greatest actress. I don't think she shouldered that film very well. I'm against the consensus on that because most people think that she did a really good job in Wonder Woman. So that's just me.
I'm kind of on the, here's our disagreement. I think she's fine. I mean, I don't think she's amazing. She's not been acting that long.
No.
And obviously I'm guessing she didn't train it. She might have had lessons since, I don't know. I hope so, because you're always learning, you're always studying, you're always in the earning you're keeping that business.
Talking about actors, so Jeremy Irons' Alfred, I think, is great.
Great. I like him as Alfred.
And he got more to do this time, which is good. He's more of like the Oracle and the chair sort of thing of Batman, so that was cool.
Yeah. I did like that, because that's one thing in the original. It's like you're introducing all these people, and J.K. Simmons is
Commissioner Gordon. I
Gordon.
still don't think he got a lot to do, but I think he might have done.
Yeah.
I would like to see him more. I'd like to see J.K. Simmons all the time in everything. So, how would you sum this one up then, Sean?
I don't really care about cinematic universes. I would just like standalone a trilogy of Flash films or whatever. You don't have to mix everybody up, and I think DC and Warner Bros. Are sort of slowly edging away from the shared cinematic universe, which I'm fine with. But at the same time, if I'm going to be given a Justice League film, I want it to be fun. And I want it to be, again, when it came to Batman and Superman, how can you fail with Batman and Superman? And it didn't work. They're just not fun enough for me. And personally, I don't get what I want out of it. If you could bring that sort of funness and epicness and just decent storytelling that Marvel do. And I'm not a Marvel, blower or a DC blower. I like superhero stuff. But I'm going to call a spade here, and Marvel are doing it better. And that annoys me because my introduction to superhero stuff was all DC. But I'd sum it up as it was disappointing, it was boring, it was It was far too long.
Yeah. We wanted to have a bit of a disagreement, and here's one. I disagree about Batman and Superman needing to be fun, because having gone through a lot of the comics and things like that, there can be serious ways, and I love the Dark Knight trilogy. So there are ways of doing this well and making it serious.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't mean like sort of like, because like the Dark Knight trilogy is not a lot of fun, but it's rewatchable. But with this, I just can't. I do want it to be a bit more. With the Justice League, I think more could have been fun than Batman and Superman. Justice League, it's a big team going up against a big team of monsters.
Well, for me, I mean, like I have liked some of this. I liked Man of Steel. I haven't liked anything since.
Loved it.
That series of films that Zack Snyder has done, they make sense. Superman through BVS and into this, they all sort of make a sense. There is an arc there, sort of thing. I'm glad he managed to do the cut that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because of the tragic circumstances that pulled him out of it. He did this. He's dedicated to his daughter who passed, which was the reason why he left the project. That's nice. People have been asking for this. Fans have been asking for this. I'm glad you've got what you wanted, and that's really good. But this needs to end now. I don't want any more of this.
It does.
And I don't want the studio to get the wrong message from people liking this and saying, oh, we need to go this way. Because they will.
Yeah.
And other studios will get the wrong message from this. And I don't want any more of this.
Definitely.
If you enjoyed this one, you may be interested to know that this was just a small part of a larger waffle that we do every 2 weeks. You'll be able to find that wherever you found this one, hopefully. You'll also be able to follow us on all of our social media platforms linked below. And if you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to do so anytime you like. You can reach out on social media, or you can email us at w.a.f.f.l.e.podd@gmail.com. Goodbye. Live Google. Why are Allen keys?
And we invite everybody to Google along with us. If you're listening, just get on Google, figure it out.
So there we go. Why are Allen keys called Allen keys? Originally named Allen Manufacturing Company, the business produced a hexagonal set of screws and wrenches to fasten them. The terms Allen wrench and Allen key are derived from the Allen brand name. So it's like Hoover.
Yeah, jacuzzi.
Well, yeah, jacuzzi, yeah. Hot tubs and jacuzzis.
Kleenex.